believe, for his healing. So any prayers you want to enter for God's healing, it's appreciated. Thank you. But we're going to pick up officially on chapter 3, understanding emotional intelligence. I have my own thoughts on emotional intelligence. I feel that it is something you have to train and learn, just as you do teach yourself to read. So the more cultures, the more people, the more interactions, the more you travel, I personally believe that it improves your emotional intelligence, so that you're able to look outside of your own box. So let's jump into this subject and see what we can find. Is emotional intelligence really more important than IQ? You've heard the term IQ all your life, but you probably don't understand that it stands for intelligence quotient. It's a measure of your relative intelligence. EQ, on the other hand, stands for emotional quotient. It's a measure of your relative emotional security and control, and how you manage yours and others' imagination. There's a standardized test to measure a person's IQ, that intelligence quotient, but not one to measure a person's EQ, the emotional quotient. So they're hard to equate, but they can be compared. An IQ score of 70 or below is considered an intellect with a disability. 145 is near genius level. 180 is at the top possible score. But there's no way to measure your EQ, right? So research demonstrates those who will lead well and perform well have high IQs and also adequate emotional intelligence. Both are necessary to act and react in a fast-paced corporate world of the 21st century. Unlike the IQ, the EQ isn't particularly merely to the individual. It breaks down into two components, internal and external. How you deal with our emotions, and also how we deal with the emotions of others. As regards the management of one's own emotions, there are 3 hallmarks of emotional intelligence. Self-awareness, in which you understand how your own mood and emotions and what effect they have on others. Self-regulation is the ability to control those emotions and impulses, and to think before you act. Motivation is the 3rd hallmark of self-emotional intelligence. Motivation is a kind of passion which is more internal. It's based on inherent propensity to achieve, an internal drive, more than external factors like utility, other people, or influence, or the influence of your surroundings. That's all for the internal part of emotional intelligence. What about emotional quotient? Externally, your emotional quotient measures your management of others' emotions and your own emotional expression. We can break our external EQ down social awareness, understanding those people's emotional makeup and how they react to your emotional expressions. Social regulation, on the other hand, is how you influence the emotion of Talent Smart researchers assessed over 2 million workers and found that just 36% of them could accurately assess their own emotions as they happen. Only 36%. Wow. There are two more components of external emotional intelligence. Empathy, the ability to share the emotions of others, is a critical part of emotional intelligence in the internal. Likewise, basic social skills are necessary. These include communication and listening skills. I don't know about you guys, but I don't know how many times we're in a conversation and we're listening to answer versus listening to understand. Breaking down listening skills, I think, is a big part of evaluating your emotional intelligence and being emotionally accountable in all the various situations we find ourselves in life. So, one company selling insurance found that their sales agent who lacked empathy, self-confidence, and initiative, all evidence of emotional intelligence, averaged less than half the sales of those who demonstrated those qualities. So that plays a role in being able to connect with people. The lack of emotional intelligence can have devastating effects in the workplace. I'll refer to Angela Bassett, the cigarette lighting situation. If you know, you know. Stress and anxiety are always lurking in the shadows of any office. And a leader lacking emotional intelligence will miss the signs and may allow these festering challenges to affect productivity and efficiency. Passive-aggressive interactions, jealousies, resentments, other destructive sentiments are likely to run wild and create a toxic climate in the workplace. It creates disorganization and mayhem and may tear a team apart. And I'll just jump in and say this, that sentence is so important. The fact that we're looking at leaders and understanding that leaders, it comes from the top down. Earlier in the book, we talked about the climate of the business, the climate of the people in the business. And that comes from top down. So really pay attention to this part because, unlike the IQ, a person's emotional intelligence can be increased. A leader can adapt emotional intelligence. They can refine it by being more self-aware, communicating more clearly. One study found that roughly half the children enrolled in the public school system's social and emotional learning skills program had higher achievement goals, and 40% demonstrated improved grade point average when they had the ability to manage that emotional quotient. Emotional intelligence in everyday life. Emotional intelligence is quite common in everyday life. When a child comes to you with a scraped knee, you use emotional intelligence. If a coworker is scorned or reprimanded by your boss and they require your emotional intelligence, even watching a soap opera on TV engages one's emotional intelligence. This is for you, Mom. I remember when you used to make me record those soap operas. But it's especially important to keep emotional intelligence in mind in the workplace. There are rarely family bonds there. Probably not as many office romances as one would think. That means the connections aren't as strong in the workplace as they can become easily frayed. Competitiveness, insecurity, and other factors make the workplace especially vulnerable to the kind of anxiety and stress that go along with a lack of emotional intelligence. The EQ is especially important in the workplace. Greater emotional intelligence benefits the leader by increasing internal awareness, empathy, self-regulation, and collaborative communication.
Thanks, Olivia. Thanks, big assist there.
Benefits to the company include better team management, stress reduction, improved company climate, more effective planning, and better results. And it really should go without saying that emotional intelligence is crucial, not only to a workplace situation, but personal, familial, romantic, and every facet of life requires emotional intelligence. What do you think? Do you think that that's something you want to strive to improve, that can be worked on? Do you have scenarios where you appreciated someone's emotional intelligence or were able to identify it or the lack of? Feel free to type in the comments below. Not only am I reading, but I think we can all learn from each other. This is our online tribe, so I'll take a break here and look forward to your comments and thoughts on emotional intelligence and when you felt it benefited you or caused you issues in your life. Thanks, loves. Bye, guys. Be blessed and stay strong. We'll get a stop on it.
I was trying to get this.
Or was it not recording the whole
It was
time?
recording. It's still recording. I'm trying to get the thing installed.
Let me see.
Maybe your hand is used to your finger.